Adam Taxin here. I'm just getting caught up on this Eric Garner situation. I guess St. Louis is coming to New York City, and a very liberal city, overwhelmingly Democrat. And I've been spending time on the northern shore of the Gulf of Mexico. People don't seem that worked up here. It actually was beautiful today in Biloxi, Mississippi. Let's just say it's a different kind of crowd. Well, actually, not so much in Biloxi today, but the weather was nice. But I go for these things for some sanity. I go to the Gateway Pundit, whose home base is Missouri. I don't know if he's going to provide quite the coverage here and for other similar situations as he did for the Michael Brown Ferguson imbroglio. But here is what he wrote about that, and then I'm going to get to the comments because that's where the real fun is. He posted earlier today about 4 or 5 hours ago, grand jury declines to indict NYPD in chokehold death of Eric Garner. And he writes, a New York City grand jury declined to indict a New York police officer in the chokehold death of Eric Garner. Garner was strangled after he resisted arrest for selling non-taxed cigarettes. And then he puts in parentheses, Democrats need their cigarette tax money to buy off voters. And then he quotes NBC New York, and this is short. And you probably know this by now, but just for those who don't, before I get to the comments, a New York City grand jury has declined to indict an NYPD officer in the chokehold case of Eric Garner. You probably know that if you're bothering to click on this video. The unarmed man who, by the way, unarmed. Why does no one ever say unarmed running back Ray Rice? I mean, you can kill people. You know, Trayvon Martin was unarmed, but it's the way, well, the media is that way, and that's why you come to listen to me instead and go to websites like the Gateway Pundit. The unarmed man who died while being arrested on Staten Island earlier this year. Multiple sources familiar with the decision tell NBC4 New York. In opting not to indict, the panel determined that there was not probable cause that a crime was committed by NYPD officer Daniel Pantaleo, who was seen on a widely watched amateur video wrapping his arm around Garner's neck as Garner yelled, "I can't breathe," during the July 17th confrontation. Garner, who had been stopped by Pantaleo and several other NYPD officers, including 2 sergeants on subjects of selling loose untaxed cigarettes, was pronounced dead at a hospital. I guess breaking the law and not cooperating with officers while black is what it is, my commentary. And then Hoft, who is the Gateway Pundit, concludes, so will the Democrats riot in New York City too? Time will tell. Now, we know the way the media filters things, and even people who have popular websites on the conservative side even filter things in what they write. So I like going to the real action, and that's in the comments sections. So let me give you a few from here. Churchillis1 writes, and I agree with this. For all of you weeping for this man's death, I am sure we can rely on you the next time a 6-foot, 250-pound man needs arresting. I am certain you will all sit down and have a dialogue with him. It is sad the man died, but a simple chokehold isn't responsible for all the bad choices this criminal made his whole life. He was morbidly obese, which is why he had the heart attack. He did not comply with a lawful order by a peace officer, which is why he was arrested. And lastly, he definitely resisted arrest, which is why he was tackled and wrestled to the ground. People, teach your kids better and stop whining. And then Bonnie Blue 2A responds to that by saying, Nanny Bloomberg's bad laws regarding the enforcement of cigarette tax laws precipitated the circumstances which ultimately led to this man's death. And, you know, that's Bloomberg eased up on the Giuliani rule, which was to prosecute small crimes. Anyhow, Bonnie Blue 2A continues, sin taxes created the demand for black market cigarettes to the point that it has been estimated that 60% of all cigarettes sold in NYC are sold illegally. The people of NYC voted for this administrative fascism. They needed to take a good long look in the mirror before pointing the finger at either the police or the man who died. And, you know, let me editorialize. You know, New York City, you know, you had it good with Giuliani, but you guys got spoiled. And there are a lot of people in the country, you know, perhaps in places like Citrus County, Florida, where they don't really care what happens to NYC. Basically, you all are getting what you deserved, and you know that. Some stuff about IQ here. Yeah. And let me just add, you know, you can go to thegatewaypundit.com yourself. You know, you don't need me to read this to you. You can shut this off, but you wouldn't listen this long if you didn't get something out of it. And I guess it's useful if you're driving or you want to preserve your eyes, or you're walking your dog or at the gym or something. So that's why I do this. I also sell ads on it. I put ads on it. I'm not stupid. Nell writes, "That's sad. He didn't have to resist arrest. Teach your kids." To which Gastergrab responds, "In just a matter of minutes, we'll hear complaints from the nearest social justice workshop, who will ask, 'Is a cigarette worth the death of this man?' They forget that law enforcement is not allowed to pick and choose the laws it enforces. It must enforce all laws as written. If a law is destructive, it is up to the legislature to repeal it." Amen. And there's a response to that: "Is not allowed to pick and choose the laws it enforces. Regrettably, not true under King Tut's Just Us Department." And David Ross responds to that: "Yes, they are the exception." So there you got some, you have some common sense on this. Some things about the firearms, alcohol, and tobacco department. MC Slammer writes, "When does the chimp out begin?" Patriots to the Front responds, "Tonight at the earliest." And guess what, New Yorkers? You symbols of sophistication, you let the liberals disarm you. It really, really sucks to be you, and no one cares. And you know what? I imagine a lot of the country is thinking that way. Though MC Slammer writes, "I think the chimps' handlers won't let them riot in their own backyard. Riots make it take forever to get to Temple on Saturday." Okay, we got some anti-Semitism in there. Oy vey, I should wait any longer. They save that kind of behavior for flyover country. Of course, the temple reference there is accurate, because that would be a reformed synagogue. Jews who actually observe Judaism never call it a temple. Just point that out, but we know what the agenda is there. Someone writes, "It already began last week," blah, blah, blah. Yeah. All right, you get the point. One last one from Billy Christian. And you know what? I'm not going to be politically correct on race. I'm going to repeat what they say, and I agree with this somewhat. Billy Christian writes, "I hope the cops get the message from this. Ferguson and Zimmerman. They should use all tools available to ensure compliance with the law. I also hope the blacks start to get the message too. Behave or suffer the consequences." All right, that's enough for now. I highly suggest you subscribe to my site, youtube.com/Taxin. And for great information on this and so many things, go to thegatewaypundit.com, though this is not in his backyard of St. Louis. All right, this has been Adam Taxin.